This is a classic loans problem. There's a business that sells for $250,000. The down payment is 30%, and the loan is for 20 years at 5% APR. So you can't just say, oh, percent, that's the APR. This 30% is your down payment, so that'll be used for down payment. This 5% will be for your APR. It's going to want me to find the down payment and the amount that we finance, and then find the monthly payment, and then find the total interest paid over the length of the loan. So A, what we want to do is find 30% of $250,000. So what we have is 30 over 100 is 30%, and the 100% is represented by the $250,000. And this is going to be the amount that we're going to borrow. So, this is going to be the down payment. So 20, we'll just call it the letter D, no big problem. And so in this case, what we're going to do is find what is 30% of 250,000. This is going to be divided by 100, so we're going to get 30 times 250,000. And we're going to divide by 100. And Sean's rule will know we're going to divide by 100. We're going to get $75,000. That's A. B is to go ahead and take the amount that you're originally thinking you owe, $250,000 for buying the business, and you're going to pay $75,000 of your own money. There are no closing costs listed here because that's already figured in as part of the business being sold. So when we get that done, we're going to find that we're going to borrow $175,000. 30% is the down payment. Subtract that exact amount of $75,000 to see how much you borrow. Now we're ready to go for C. The amount that we're borrowing, the principal to start off this loan is $175,000. We need a periodic interest rate here. So R is equal to, they want me to go with 5, divide by 100 for percent, and pay it monthly, so 12. This is that situation again, so you get another look at it. We're going to take 5, divide by 100, which doesn't pose any threat. Then we're going to divide that thing by 12, and we'll see that it gets a decimal that doesn't terminate. So we don't want to cut it off and say, oh, well, how much do I give? I'm not sure. I'm going to let the calculator handle it. And then the number of periods. This is 20 years, but it's 12 times per year. So the total is going to be 240 payments. That puts us in a situation where we're going to find the PMT is equal to, we want the principal of $175,000 to be multiplied by the interest rate, which is 5 divided by 100 divided by 12. We'll come back and we're going to take care of the denominator, which is going to be 1 minus parentheses around 1 plus 5 divided by 100 for percent, divided by 12 for monthly. Close the parentheses. It's going to be to the negative power, where n is 240. So here we're going to see that the numerator is probably not going to terminate as a decimal. We've got 175 followed by 3 zeros times 5. Then we're going to divide by 100, and we're going to divide by 12. We got this. 729.166666. 6 is until you can't anymore. All right, so that's what we got. And in the denominator, we're going to go with 1 minus, open a pair of parentheses, 1 plus 5 divide by 100 and divide by 12. Close our parentheses. The parentheses are now closed, and it's created 1.00416666666 stuff going there. That now needs to be taken to the power of negative 240. So I got to raise it to the power of a 240 that I make sure is negative on my calculator. I'll see what the denominator makes. 0.240. 631,355,471. And now I want to divide these two things. So what I want to do is I want to have this in my numerator, that in my denominator. And you can do that. You can type that and then divide by that and see what you get round to the nearest penny. I'm going to do that. I'm going to jam this in my denominator using 1 over x. I'm going to multiply it by 729.1 and give it 6's as far as it can go, and then throw a 7 on the end. And 154.92.2 is what I'm looking at. 154.92.2. Oh, sorry, 1154.92.2. So that's not going to fit in there. 1150. Yeah, easier to erase it than squeeze it in, right? $11.54. Come on, man. 0.922. That's going to get me 1154.92 will be functionally what I pay. In reality, this payment would probably ask you to pay $1,154.93 so that you have a smaller last payment. But we're going to go with just rounding it off. And now the last part, D, this is how much do you pay in interest? Now the number of payments you actually made, we found here to be 240. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our $1,154.92 and multiply it by 240 payments. And that's all the money that you paid. I'm going to clear that out because of the ongoing decimal and go 1154.92 times 240. And that's all the money that I paid. 277,180.8. And now I have to subtract off the money that I originally borrowed, which was $175,000. So now this is going to get me $102,180.80. So I spent in interest over $102,000. Sounds like a lot of money. But here's what goes on with loans. You had to get in business and get going. So you pay this to rent their money and get yourself in business while you're making money the whole time. Otherwise, you would have had to wait and save money trying to get up to having $250,000 through savings that we looked at before. Meanwhile, the price of the business is probably going up and you're not making any money with your business. So paying $100,000 over all those years for interest is just what we call the cost of doing business. This is about buying a business. With the business, sometimes you pay for the building, sometimes you pay for the customers and inventory and all that. But anyway, the whole deal of taking over this business, you said the sale price of the business would be $130,000. You're going to get together a down payment of 7%, and you have to pay closing costs of $2,200 to make this all happen. You make monthly payments at 3% APR for 20 years. And that would have been there. I just forgot to write it up here. Okay. So it asks A, find the down payment. So okay, we're going to go with this. The down payment is going to be 7%. So 7 over 100, where 100% is the entire price, which includes a dollar sign. And there's your D. So D is, and there are other ways to do it, but you want to get 7% of 130,000. So you're going to wind up dividing by 100 when you go with 7 times 130,000 and divide by 100. $9,100 is your down payment. Amount financed has two things going on besides the price. Price of 130,000 and you're going to pay $9,100 down payment. That means you're going to owe less by this $9,100. put you at $120,900 if there were no closing costs. Now, closing costs mean you're going to owe more. Closing costs are given you as this direct dollar amount of $2,200. You wind up at $123,100. And this is going to be the amount of principal to start the loan. So now when we go for the payment, we need to know the amount of principal you're going to start the loan with, which we just found to be $123,100. We need the interest rate. 3%. So you begin with the 3, divide by 100 because of percent. And because this is monthly, you're also going to divide by 12. That one works out nicely, because if you go ahead and you try and do your 3, divide by 100, and then divide by 12, you're in the good fortune. The fortunate spot of having come out to 0.0025, a terminating decimal, which means we won't have as much of a struggle to put those non-terminating decimal representations in here. How many payments? Monthly. 20 years, whatever number of years you have here. Monthly means 12 times, so times 12 gets you here 240 payments. Let's go find the payment amount. We need P, 123, 100. That's a dollar sign on there. And then you want to multiply it by the rate of 0.0025. That'll make for me either an integer or a decimal that terminates. Then I have to go and set up the denominator, which is 1 minus, and in the parentheses, I'm lucky, the parentheses will hold on to 1.0025 and power it to negative power of the 240 months, or the 240 payments that we're going to make. So at the top, 123,100 times 0.0025 equals 307.75. And in the denominator, I'm going to have 1 minus 1.0025, which I raise to the power of a 240 that must be negative. So you do what your calculator needs to get the negative 240 as the power. And the whole of the denominator for me turns out to be 0.450777286. So I want to do 317.307.75 divided by this number. I'll come out of here with 682.709. That's $682.71. That's my monthly payment. And now for D, I know that I'm going to make a bunch of those payments. 682.71 times 240 payments. So I get all this. $163,850.40. And off that, I need to subtract what I originally borrowed, which was $123,100. $40750.40. This is always relying on the account balance is equal to the principal plus interest. So if I know the total and I subtract off the principal, then I can find myself with the interest. I'll throw the commas in there and the dollar sign. $40,750.40. One more coming up. We'll do an amortization. We'll do an amortization, and in this one we're going to show the interest, the principal reduction, and then the end balance each month. So we're not going to rewrite the balance at the start of each month, but it's going to get the same values worked in for us here. What we have initially is we have $230,000, and we have a down payment taken off that. The down payment is 4%. So we're going to divide by the 100. So D equals 4 times 230 and then 1,000. Divide by 100. It's going to get us $9,200. And we're going to take that down payment of 4% off of the $230,000. They don't say anything about closing costs, so what we're going to find out is that the principal is going to be made up of the $230,000 minus $9,200. You get $220,800 for the principal. And that's how this begins. 220, 800, 0.00. And now we're going to go through that process that we looked at before. We're going to find the interest on this $220,800. And that is take our $220,800 and multiply it by. Now R is equal to 7 divided by 100 divided by 12. And we're going to need to do that each time. So we're going to do this thing times 7 divided by 100% and divide by 12. We get 1288. 0.00 for this one. Now what I'm going to come over here and do is my principal reduction. The payment was already told to be $1,711.20. $1,711.20. This is given to you to use. You don't have to find it in this problem. This is focused solely on the amortization of what we got. So we didn't even need to do the down payment because we know that's the payment every month. So over here on this side, I'm going to take my $1,711.20 and subtract $1,288.00. So there's space for me to do that over here, and I'm going to do that. $1,711.20 and let me get that again. I got something typed in wrong. 1711.20 minus 1288 flat. So it's also going to end with 20. 423.20. These two will always add up to that payment, but that's my principal reduction. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this number minus that number. To get lower than the old 220,800, I'm now going to have 220, 376.80. That is going to lead me into my next interest. My interest is going to be, again, take that number that sits on my calculator now. I've got it down to the nearest penny. I'm going to multiply it by 7, divide by 100 for percent, divide by 12 for monthly. So times 7, divide by 100 for percent, and divide by 12 for monthly, equals 1285.53. So I'm going to take my 1711.20 that I pay every month, and I'm going to subtract 1285.53. 17, 11, 20 is locked up, minus 12, 85.53 equals 425, 67. That is going to come off of this previous month's ending balance. 220, 376.8 equals 219,951.13. And I'm going to take that and apply interest to that. This number back here, did my subtraction, put it right there, did my subtraction, put it right there. Now I'm going to find my next interest, which should be a little bit less than I paid the month before. You multiply my balance as it sits there. 7 divided by 100 divided by 12 equals 1283.05. So here I got 1283.05. Again, that's coming off 1711.20. So 1711.20 minus the 1283.05 equals 428.15. And now I'm going to take 1219,951.13 minus that value. 219,951.13. I'm going to get 219,522.98. And what I'm going to do, if I had to grade this myself, is I always look at that last number and see if it's to the penny correct. That's when I'm grading them individually. And then if it's all correct, you get full credit for it. But if this is wrong, then I start looking back for how many mistakes were made and take off one of the 10 points on each one. But this will be graded based on that. And so you'll see this in the homework, the quiz, and on your exam.